So today we'll be discussing question number 2 of ISC 2014, which was about checking whether the matrix is symmetrical or not, right? So the question goes like this. You are supposed to have a square matrix A. Obviously, since it's square, so the dimension is m by m. They have also given us the range of m, that is m will be greater than 2 and less than 10. And what you have to do is you have to do three things. First, display the original matrix, which is a straightforward thing. Then we are supposed to check whether the matrix is symmetric or not, and that is to be done along the primary axis. So I'll just elaborate on this first. So let's say, let me turn on the drawing mode first. Okay, and this is something else. So the thing is that we are supposed to have an array, and let's say I'm taking a 4 by 4 array. Okay, so here is the array. So we want symmetry, means obviously the diagonal itself will be symmetrical. That's not an issue. What we have to check is whether the element over here is same as this, the element over here is same as this, the element over here is same as this. Got the idea? This is what we are trying to do. So basically row column should be equal to column row, and in order to optimize it, what we'll do, we'll only consider the elements below the diagonal. That means we'll compare this element with this element, but we'll not again compare this element with this element, right? So yes, though yes, the answer will still be the same, but why do twice the work, right? So optimization should always be performed. First you should think of the solution, then before you actually write the single line, you should think whether or not you can optimize it. So this is how we'll optimize it. So let's begin doing what I just said that we'll be doing. So the screen clears, we come back to the programming mode. Okay, so I have a template ready. So the first thing is we have to prompt the user to enter the input. So system.out.print, and we'll prompt the user. We'll say input, we'll give a tab character, and then we are saying that okay, m is equal to whatever. Once this message is displayed, we'll go down, we'll say that okay, int m is equal to in dot next int, and whatever number the user enters will be stored in the variable m. Now we'll check the range. The range was if m is more than 2 and m is less than 10. If that is the case, we'll proceed normally. Otherwise, we'll display an error message. I've already copied the system.out.print line, so I'll simply paste it over here, and here we'll say output, and the exact message which they were displaying was the matrix size is out of range. So I'll simply copy it and we'll paste it after the tab character. Any doubts in this part?
No, sir.
No. Okay. So once this is done, now we will not write everything inside the main. That is now how it should be done. Right? So what
Yes.
we'll do is we'll create an object and we'll call it matrix. This class matrix will have an instance variable. Ideally, the data members are supposed to be kept private, and the methods are public so that you can access the private data members through the methods. You cannot modify them directly. So I'll create an array. They have given the name A, so we'll call it A. And since they are also asking us for the dimension, I'll place the dimension also, though this is redundant actually. If we want, we can always say A dot length instead of M, but we'll write it because the question is specifying so. Then we'll say public matrix. We'll have the constructor. The constructor will accept only one thing, and that is the size of m. Now since there are two m's in this scope within the constructor, so we'll say this dot m, which will refer to the instance variable m over here, and we'll say that okay, this dot m is equal to m. So this will assign it, and now we'll create the array. We'll say that okay, a is equal to new int, and the size is m. Any doubt till this point?
No, sir.
No. Okay. The next thing is, okay, let's do this thing first. So we'll have to create an object. We'll say that okay, matrix obj is equal, or let's call it obj matrix, that will look better. We'll create the object, we'll say, we'll instantiate it, and then we'll pass the value of m. Once that is done, we want to display it. So we don't want to call the display function. We'll do it in a neater fashion by overriding the toString method. That is, we'll say system.out.println, and we'll write obj matrix. So now what will happen is that once the computer sees this, since in order to print an object you must convert it into a string, in order to convert a string, computer is going to look, or rather the Java JVM is going to look for the method toString. So we'll create a toString method which will return a string. The name of the method will be toString. So this method will be invoked, and within this what we'll do is we'll display the matrix. So for that, we'll first take a string variable for the output. We'll initialize it to nothing. We'll take the outer loop for the row. So we'll say that, okay, row is equal to 0, row is less than m, row plus plus.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Akshat. So now our outer, okay, just spelling mistake is correct. So the outer loop is going for the row 0 to m, and inner loop will go for the column, again 0 to m only because it's a square matrix. So column is equal to 0, column is less than m, and then we'll say column plus plus. Now here we are supposed to display it, but if you notice, when they are displaying it, there is a tab character before it. So what we'll do is, before every line we need a tab character. So output plus is equal to /t, so the tab character is added, and then we'll add the element. So we'll say that, okay, output plus is equal to, we'll say a of row and then column, and then we are going to give another tab, and then when the function is finished, we'll say return output. So can you notice anything which is wrong in this case? There is something wrong. What is it?
So we forgot to change the line.
Exactly. We
Right.
forgot to change the line. That is one thing. There is one more thing which is wrong other than this. Now we have changed the line after each row. The inner loop is for row. So once the row is complete, we are adding a /n. No. Okay, now what's the missing thing, or rather what's the extra thing over here? Can you notice the extra stuff? The extra stuff is that there will be a /t at the end. Though that will not be visible, but that's not a proper way of doing things. Why to add an extra /t? So we'll get rid of that extra /t by checking it explicitly. So we'll say that, okay, if row is less than, sorry, not row,
So,
column.
so we could just do output.trim after the loop.
But then that will remove the /t in the beginning also. That's not what we want. Okay.
Okay, yes, yes.
Trim removes from the beginning as well as the end.
Yes.
And then please understand, trim requires a loop internally. It's not a very good thing to do unless and until, I mean, it's a one-off thing. Now this is happening inside a loop. So trimming it again and again doesn't sound like a very good idea. Even if I take a second string variable and then do it and then add it to output, but still it will be heavy. It's not a good idea. So if column is less than m, we'll say that output plus is equal to /t. Is it okay now?
So column is less than m minus 1 should be there.
Exactly, I know. So now this is working. Any doubts? Akshat, is it okay with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we are able to enter the matrix and we are able to display the matrix. Let's run it quickly to check it out. So if I run it right
So
now,
we haven't taken input.
we haven't taken input, meaning, oh yes, but anyway, let's see whether this is going on properly or not with zeros only.
Oops.
So 0 0 0, yes, the formatting is correct. Now we have to have the input also, otherwise how we'll enter the array? That means I'm talking about this part. So let's do it. So for that, what we'll do, we'll create one more function. We'll say obj.getInput, and now we are supposed to define the getInput method. So we'll go over here, we'll say public void getInput, scanner in is equal to new scanner system.in, and then obviously we are supposed to close it, so I'll close it right in the beginning. And then we'll again have to take two loops just like we normally do, one outer loop, one inner loop. Outer loop will be for the rows, inner loop will be for the columns. Int row is equal to 0, row is less than m, row plus plus, and then we'll say for int column is equal to 0, column is less than m, and column plus plus. And then we'll enter, we'll say a of row column, a of row column is equal to in dot next int. So that will take care of the input. Any doubts in this?
No, sir.
I think it's working. So now our input has been taken. Obj matrix it is, not obj. So now we'll get the input and we'll display the output. I think we are missing one more line, and that is it is saying output original matrix as well, isn't it? So we'll take that from there. Where is it? Oh, we forgot that line altogether. So before we print it, we'll say system.out.println output :t :t, and that will be followed by the message. Yes. So the input part is done. The original matrix is displayed. Now what we are supposed to do? We are supposed to check whether the given matrix is symmetric or not. So let's begin. So in order to check for the symmetry, we'll have a function. What to call the function? Is symmetric will sound not nice. So we'll say
Yes.
public boolean and we'll call it is symmetric. And then we'll check whether the matrix is symmetric or not. So like we told you, again the same loop will run. Let's copy and paste. But please note we have to change something as discussed earlier. What was that change?
So we have to run it only till the main diagonal. So less than row. Column will
Exactly.
run less
Exactly.
than row.
We will not go till the diagonal. We'll be checking only below the diagonal because the diagonal will be equal to itself. So even if you make it column is less than equal to row, the program is going to work. But then why waste computer's time? Because when you waste computer's time, you are also wasting your time as well. So now what to do? We have to check. What we'll do is if it is not equal, we'll return false. We won't waste time in, like, once we find a mismatch, it is not symmetric. So if it's not symmetric, why to check the whole thing? So we'll say that, okay, if a of row col, sorry, the spelling is wrong. If a of row col is not equal to a of col row, we'll straight away say return false. And if the loop completes, we'll say return true. Make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Any doubts, please let me know. No?
No, sir,
Okay.
it's clear.
So the next step is we go over here after we have displayed the original matrix, we'll check if obj matrix dot is symmetric, we'll have to display a message. If it is not symmetric, we have to display another message, and we'll just copy the message to save some time. So the given matrix is symmetric. That's one message. We'll say system.out.println and we'll give our message over here. And else I'll again copy the same message, paste it over here, and then we'll say the given matrix is not symmetric. So that will take care of part B of the question. Any doubts till this point?
No, sir.
Now the last point is actually quite straightforward. You have to display the sum of the left diagonal and the sum of the right diagonal separately. So what we'll do is we'll create one more function, public void display should we call display or should we call compute and display? Compute and display is a better idea, right? Compute
Yes.
and display sum of diagonals. Compute and display sum of diagonals. And now we have to calculate the sum of diagonals, primary as well as the secondary. So we'll take two variables, or not float, int only. We'll say int, what to call it? Some nice name. Okay, sum of left diagonal is equal to 0 and sum of right diagonal, is the spelling okay? Sum of left diagonal is equal to 0, sum of right diagonal is equal to 0. And now we'll do it in a single loop. There is like many times what students do sometimes is they take again a loop for row, a loop for column, and then they say that if row is equal to column, then it's a diagonal. We are not going to waste time that way. We'll just say int, int I have already written, int I is equal to 0, I is less than m, and then we'll say I plus plus. That's one loop. And now what we need to do is, let me again get to the drawing mode. And so what I'm trying to do is, we have an array, we have a primary diagonal. Primary diagonal means these elements over here, right? So this is nothing but 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Basically I comma I. Any doubts in this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So this is actually I comma I. So this is straightforward. Now we have to come from the other side also. Please understand, row is still increasing, but column is going back, is decreasing. So either you can take another variable, but there is no point in taking another variable and take more memory and more computation. So what we'll do is, we'll say sum of, let me move back to the other mode. So we'll say sum of left diagonal plus is equal to a of I. This is the straightforward, no issues in this. Now we'll say sum of right diagonal plus is equal to a of I, because row is increasing. But for the column, what we'll do?
M minus I minus 1.
M minus I minus
I1.
minus 1. Or should we call it M minus 1 minus I? That will make it more clear, isn't it? Though the answer will still remain the same, but the point is M minus 1 is the limit, and minus I we are subtracting from the back. So first time 0 will be subtracted, you will get the last one. Next time 1 will be subtracted, you will get the second last one, and so on. So once this is done, we'll go to the outside the loop and we have to display it. So we'll say system dot out dot println, oops, sorry, what I've written, println, and then we'll take out the message from there. The message was the sum of left diagonal and the sum of right diagonal. So I'll copy till here. We'll go over here, we'll paste it, and we'll say plus sum of left diagonal, then semicolon, copy, paste. Left will become right, and here also left will become right. Any doubts?
No.
No. Okay, so let's go down, and now we come to the last step, that is over here, and we say obj matrix dot compute and display sum. Okay, I think it should be working now. If there are any bugs, we'll thrash them out. So let's say this is our input, m is equal to 3, and then I just copy the whole stuff. I copy from here to here, we go over here and we'll run it. So m is 3, and then I just paste the whole input, press enter, and 11 and 10, the matrix is symmetric. 11 and 10 and the matrix is symmetric. The first thing is working. Let's copy the second one also, and let's be a bit more lazy now. We'll just copy paste everything. We'll run it again, and we'll paste the whole stuff, press enter, and it has gone into infinite loop or something. No, what is happening? It's still waiting for the input. 4 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. What is this happening?
So you pasted the entire like array in for the input of m only.
No, but that should work actually. Okay, anyway, no problem. Because I'm doing the same thing for the variable otherwise. So this is 4, Control Shift V, and we press enter. 17 and 20, is it correct? 17 and 20 is correct. And now let's, just for the sake of completeness, we'll try out the last one also. So let me run it again. And they have given the last input as 12. 12 is more than 10, so it is not supposed to work. So if I say 12, I press enter. The size of the matrix is out of range. We forgot a slash n over there, so let's add a slash n. Over here it should be print ln. Now I'll push it onto the repository so that you can see it later if you want. So I made 2 changes. One was the correction in the format. So I'll just call it corrected the format. That's one change. And then added solution of ISC 2014 question 2. Yes. Any doubt you may ask now.
No, sir, it's clear.
Akshat, is it clear to you?
Yes.
Okay, those who are online, if you have any doubt, you may post it now. Okay, so in the next class, we'll be talking about question number 3, which was on strings. Okay.